Today we're looking at the Vikings playoff chances, what is going on, Jerome's. And, even though the Vikings beat the Lions, it's not exactly all sunshine and unicorns and all that stuff. So let's get into it today. All right, so going on 538, as well as we'll get into the ESPN NFL playoff machine. It's been our standbys so far. You notice that the Vikings 72% to make the playoffs. Feel pretty good about that, right? But then remember, all right, so let's look at the numbers. 72% make the playoffs. 24% win the division. 6% first round bye. Keep those in mind. If you look last week, the Vikings were 82, 28, and 4. So the first round bye increased, but overall chances of making the playoffs dropped from 82 to 76. Now you may be asking yourself, why? Why? Nancy Kerrigan, why? Why did that happen? Well, you look at the Rams. Rams last week were 25% to make the playoffs. This week, they jumped up to a robusto 36% with their ass whooping of the Seahawks. By the way, I'm still angry that the Vikings did not beat the Seahawks 2 weeks ago, but that's neither here nor there. So now the Vikings got a little bit of a sweat against a team that has been there, done that, played the most boring Super Bowl in NFL history before. So they have that going for them. So now the Vikings do have to take care of business. You got your next week at the Chargers. That got flexed out of Sunday Night Football into a late slot. And then you got Green Bay Monday night. And then you got Week 17 at home against the freaking Bears. We've seen this movie before. We saw it last year. Vikings win and in. Couldn't get it done at home. But now I kind of like this pressure. I'm not gonna lie, because pressure makes diamonds, all of those other cliches, and you just look at how the Vikings basically just take care of business on the field, and everything else will work itself out. But also, I am a little bit concerned in that the Rams could potentially catch the Vikings. So let's look at the current standing. So Vikings right now in the 6th seed at 9-4. The Rams are down here at 8-5. Now, if they end up with the same record, the tie-breaking procedures goes to head-to-head, not applicable in this case. But then it goes into conference record. And right now, the Rams, wish we had a graphic for this, but we don't, production value. The Rams are currently 6-3 in the NFC and have 3 NFC games left to play. The Vikings are currently 7-3, have 2 NFC games left to play on Monday night, Week 16 against the Packers, and then Week 17 against the Bears. And also, if you look at the Rams' remaining schedule, it's a bit sporty. So they're at Dallas, who we know that Dallas are frauds now. Then they're also at San Francisco, which San Fran may be in the clubhouse at that point. Let's go back. All right, so their game up on Green Bay, working in. Yeah, because they beat them head to head. So they're actually like two. Essentially, this is a 2-game lead. Also, they beat the Saints heads up as well. So now, unfortunately for the Vikings, the 49ers might be in the clubhouse at that point. Also, they have a lot of injuries, so they may be looking to rest a couple people these final 2 weeks. And then also they got the Rams have the host, the Cardinals, Week 17. So that could be meh at that point. And of course, like we talked about, the Vikings at Chargers, Green Bay at Bears. So let's look in these various scenarios. Now, I ran the scenario once through already, and that if the Vikings... say the Vikings lose to the Chargers, which it's possible, going from Midwest to the West Coast. Chargers, don't really know, blah, blah, blah. And we'll say that the Rams win out. Just for ease of math, that means that the Vikings and Rams would end up with the exact same record. And something intriguing happens. Why can't I find the Rams logo? There we go. All right, so Rams win, Vikings win. So notice that even though the Vikings ended up at 11-5, so did the Rams, and you may be thinking, what is going on? So in this scenario, both teams ended up with a 9-3 NFC record, and then it comes down to common games played. And the common games, minimum of 4 between the Rams and the Vikings would be Seattle, Dallas, Chicago, and Falcons. Now, I'm not quite sure how they weight if a team has played another team twice, so like in division. So I assume that they just split the difference. So that's bad news for the Vikings, splitting with the Bears in this scenario, and then they would have beat. Then the Rams would have beat Seattle twice. No, they would have split with Seattle as well. So then it would have gone down to like yet another tiebreaker. So head to head, then they would have had the same one loss percentage in conference. Then they would have had the same in common games, and then it would go on to strength of victory, and then I think that's where the Rams would have tripped up the Vikings, because the Vikings right now technically have not beaten a team with a current winning record, as the Raiders just went down. So you have to go all the way down to the fourth tiebreaker, and then it just F's the Vikings right in the A. So that's really unfortunate there. All right, so let's reset here, because notice what happens. So say we flip-flop, the Vikings beat the Chargers, and then we'll say that the Packers, the Vikings lose to the. Nah, I can't do it. All right, so the Vikings lose to the Bears. Oh, even in that spot. Huh. Oh, yeah, because same record. Even though, yeah. So same record, and then it would have just gone down to one loss percentage in the conference, because then the Rams would have had an edge up there, because the Vikings would end up being 8-4, and the Rams would end up being 9-3. So there you go. Either way, Vikings just kind of need to win out. Now, looking at how the Vikings can still steal the North, because you saw in that scenario that it's extremely possible. So we need to root for the Bears. Vikings need to be the biggest Bears fans this weekend, as they are up at Lambeau. So go Bears. Vikings beat the Chargers. And then the current record, Green Bay and the Vikings are 10-4. Now, looking at the in-division tiebreakers, which isn't looking good for the Vikings. So head-to-head, say that's a wash. Say the Vikings... All right, so say the Vikings win Week 16. There you go. Suck it. Vikings moving to a 3 seed. It's great. All right, so head-to-head, that's a wash. One loss tie percentage within division. That would be a wash if the Vikings won Week 17. One loss tie in common games, and then one loss tie in games in the conference, and then strength of victory, which if it gets to strength of victory with any of these tiebreakers, it's not going to be looking good for the Vikings. So let's move on to Week 17, and we'll say that the Vikings just drop a heartbreaker to the Bears, and then we'll say that the Packers beat the Lions. Vikings and Packers end up with the same record. Oh, no, picked that wrong. There you go. Then they flip-flop yet again. So the Vikings not looking good for tiebreakers with the Rams and or the Packers. So they need to come out with a better record straight up over the Rams and over the Packers if they want hope to do anything here. So that's about it. That's where the Vikings stand right now. They do have an outside shot. Like I mentioned, was it 8%? 6% to get a first-round bye. Let's look at that scenario. So we got the Vikings. Let's just reset. All right, so Vikings win. Packers currently in the 2 seed right now. They lose, and the Vikings just have to find a route to the 2 seed and win the division. So Vikings beat the Packers. Saints lose at Tennessee, which Tennessee under Ryan Tannehill looking pretty plucky right now. And as you see, the Vikings already currently in the 2 seed. So the Packers get that. And then we'll say that the Saints beat Carolina. That's fine. So that's the way the Vikings go. Either way, 3 games on the field. Got to take care of business and do all that up. And that's the Vikings' current playoff scenario right now. If you like these videos, let us know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe Daily Vikings Takes. If you want to support the work, both something than Venmo, plus give us a follow on social media as well. But till next time, Skol, production value.